Hey everybody, this is Maru Pro with this week's Tool of the Week, and for this week I'm going to be showing you guys how to use the Maru pin nib, or how I use it, how I go about using it. And as you can probably tell, this is the drawing that I did in the sketch video where I showed you guys how I drew my original character in real time. And yeah, so I'm just going to be making some commentary. I recorded this earlier, so it's not me drawing right now, but I'll just make some commentary and tell you guys how I went about doing what I did when it comes across in the video. So right now you just see me lining out the jacket, and what I'm doing is, you know, drawing the edges of it, and then there's a little shadow right there, and I kind of outline that because I'm going to color it in with black anyway. And you can probably notice the little paper underneath my hand there, and that is that's actually for draining out the nib pin. If you saw me just make a little line right there on the paper. And as the video goes on, you'll see more and more of those little lines. But what happens is when you go over the line, you know, a couple times, or you're just drawing for a while, the paper that you're drawing on, the manuscript paper, starts to sometimes it starts to rip off and builds up in the tip of the pen. And it doesn't damage the drawing itself because, you know, the amount of paper that does rip off is so small you don't even notice it. But what happens is it gets in the tip of the pen, and then it acts like a sponge, and it starts to soak up some of the ink that you're drawing with. And what happens after that is that when you're drawing, you might not notice it, but some of your lines might be start to get a little thicker without you putting the extra pressure on the pen itself. And that's because the ripped paper has so much ink in it that it's just spilling out. It's not spilling out over the page, but it's smearing on the page. And so you want to be careful of that. And so every time you start to notice that your lines start to get a little bigger without you putting pressure on the pen, just run it across a little piece of paper like I have here, and you know, just drain it out. Probably see this. Alright, just doing the other side of the jacket here. Another thing with the Maru pen is that usually, if you're going for that one straight line, you can go all the way through, because the Maru pen is really good at holding inside of itself the ink. And what I mean by that is it doesn't run out of ink too quickly when you're drawing with it. So it holds ink in the tip of the nib for quite some time. And yeah, so you don't have to go and dip your pen every 5 seconds. So right here I start to do the face. Putting some more detail on the jacket and getting into the hair. Now you saw me pick up the pencil and put down the pen. What I'm doing is going into more detail with the hair. I saw that it wasn't detailed in some areas, not as much as I'd like it to be. And so this is something you always want to do. And you know, it's kind of common sense. Before you put the ink down, just go back in with a pencil. I think I added some more detail to the little flaps of his hair coming off the sides. So I'm inking the ear there. Going back in with a pencil. Just redrawing the hair. It didn't look too even to me, so I kind of evened it out. And then I'm adding those little black kind of strands right there. It added a nice contrast to the white background of his hair. So just added those in. And as you can probably tell, his hair is kind of short, and so you'll see my pen on this part of the video vibrating back and forth a lot, and that's because I'm doing you know, kind of sketching how you sketch with a pencil. I'm making multiple lines, but with the multiple lines, I'm keeping them in an orderly fashion, so they're not all, you know, hashed all over the page. And with doing that with the hair is okay, because the hair, you know, obviously normal real life human hair is straight, and so you want to get that to look as straight as you can when drawing. And so you don't want to make too many big swift one stroke lines. You know, with girls' hair you can do that because it's a little longer and you won't over exceed the sketch and it won't look weird. But with short hair like this, I always like to take my time, as you can probably tell, and kind of make sure I'm getting that one straight line in order with all the other lines. You'll see me touching some of the ink that I just put down, and that's because the ink I'm using is the Pilot drafting ink, and it's really good ink. It dries pretty fast. I think other inks that dry fast that you can get in fine art stores in America are the India ink. I think that dries pretty fast. A lot of artists use that. You know, comic book artists. My illustration teacher, he used that. Yeah. So any ink that dries relatively fast is good. So it won't smear as easy. Also, you can see the papers over a lot of the drawing too, and I don't have to worry about that smudging any of the ink that I put down because the ink dries within the first 30 seconds, I'd say. You can see that I outlined the hair, or not the hair, but the shadow from the hair in ink, and then I go over it with an eraser, and that's because now that I have a template of where to you know, fill in the ink, I can erase it off the page and see how the drawing looks overall. I'm going really careful with the eyes. You can tell, you can even tell I'm going, even the sped up part is going pretty slow. So in real time, I was going pretty slow with the eyes. You always want to get the eyes very fine and detailed. But for this video, for the sketch that I did in the other video, and also for the inking video, when I was drawing it in real time, I went slower than usual just to see how detailed I can get it. And I didn't go too slow to the point where I was trying to get the most detail, but I wanted to get it pretty detailed, so I went kind of slow. But usually I don't draw this slow. So if you guys want like really detailed drawings, just draw slow, just so you can have, you know, like one really good detailed drawing. You can go back to it for reference later on. And so for here, you can see me start to ink in using the Copic multi, or the Copic, I think you call it Copic multi-liner. And I have the A set. There's 3 sets. There's the A set. I think there's a B set. I think the third one's called AB or something like that. But for the A set, I have 0.03, 0.1, 0.3, and 0.7. And those are the sizes of the felt tips on the edge of the pen. And they're all pretty standard. 0.7 is pretty good. I used to use 0.8, but that's the biggest one you get in the pack. 0.8 is kind of too big. 7 has a nice luxury of being a little smaller, but not too small, almost the same size as an 8 for those big areas. And then 0.3 is what I use for a lot of the shading in. I probably use 0.3 for the hair and for the neck. You can guys see me shading the neck in there. Slow it down so you guys can see me how I shade in the shadow. But yeah, so 0.3, 0.1 is really good, and then 0.03 is just for those super small areas, or super detailed times where you want to get super detailed lines. But as you can tell, I shaded in the neck with pencil, if you can see the pencil. But then when I went back with the ink, I chose to shade it in differently, and that's okay. You know, people make changes all the time when they're drawing it. That's just the pencil is just an underlay and an idea of what you really want in the end. You could always change. And right here, I think I'm just thinking of how I could do the shadows for the neck, so I'm not really drawing. You can color it in there. And yeah, so that's about it for this week's tool of the week. Leave your comments, any questions you guys have, and anything like that down below. Comment and rate on this vid, rate the vid, subscribe, and yeah, just keep messaging me about things you guys want to see in the future tool of the weeks. I do use that moderator on my page. I've seen a lot of good ideas from that, so I'll probably start picking some stuff up from that. I do read all the ones you guys suggest, and so yeah, just keep doing that. And I'll see you guys later. All right, thanks. Bye.